Hello, welcome. It is Movie Talk, where we talk about movies. And I don't feel good because I spent today reading Gabby Rivera's America Chavez run, and my brain hurts. So let's talk about something better, something
Thank you
worth
for doing
hating.
the Lord's work. None of us are going to touch that shit.
He is
I ain't,
doing the Lord's work.
I ain't reading it.
I pirated it. I don't care. I'll admit it. I didn't pay for it. Somebody scanned the pages online, and
It fell off a truck.
yes, it fell off.
Yeah.
It fell off a truck and landed in somebody's discussion thread,
Yes.
and I just
I-
happened to see it.
I'm all happy because my wife's birthday present got here.
Ooh.
I ordered a limited run, only 100 print of one of the big time D&D artists from the 80s of a barbarian warrior woman sitting on a rock.
Ooh.
Yeah, and it's got the obligatory 80s nudity, but she loves that picture
Is
to
it
the
in
point.
Elmore?
No, I don't think it's Elmore, but he's up there with him. I'd have to go in and look at my. I'm on the back porch where I'd look at it. But yeah, so we're discussing Star Wars. Which,
Yes, Wolf especially said he had opinions, and I know that Ginell does too.
Well,
I
I
do-
did watch the documentary you sent me about Lee Brackett, and holy shit, that's beyond coincidence. So yeah,
I
I'm ready
thought so.
to. It's beyond. Like almost every single scene was ripped out of one of her books.
Her or her husband, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, somebody got ripped off.
Oh no, do you want to tell him, Ishi,
Okay, well, I
about Lee
came across
Brackett? And I can't remember her husband's name right now. I'm brain farting.
William?
William something.
Yeah.
Edmund. Look, my head's full of Gabby Ramirez shit. I can't think right now.
You couldn't
Oh,
even
why
say
did
her
you
name
read
right.
it before this show?
I have to upload the file,
Did
on
that
the
jog your
stick.
memory?
Okay, let me look up.
and I
Okay,
gotta get this shit done.
Oh,
Hold on.
Star
Lee
Wars,
Brackett was married to Edmund Hamilton.
There you
Yes.
go. So I was
Yes.
totally wrong.
Star
And-
Wars had an interesting thing because the big thing at the 80s at the time, Buck Rogers was big. Star Trek had been canceled because they wanted to put more westerns up, and Star Wars came out of like nowhere, and it was done by the guy who did. The last movie he did before that was a movie about cruising and streetcar racing.
Yeah.
And I think
Oh,
he
you're
done
talking about
TH.
American Graffiti.
Yes, and I think he did TH 1138
Yes, he did.
THS
Yes, he
1138
did.
before that, which is a highly underrated movie.
Agreed.
Mm.
And the
I
book
mean,
is amazing.
He didn't write it, and it's got very little dialogue. He was perfect for it.
Yes.
Yeah, because he hates writing.
So, okay, we watched this documentary.
Mhm.
Now, for those who know, Leigh Brackett was an exceptionally good pulp writer from the 30s and 40s.
Mhm.
And then she went into Hollywood in the 50s and 60s. And all this bullshit about, boys club. No, she was invited in because she was good.
Wait, can I just say this is how good she was? She wrote The Big Sleep, Rio Bravo, and The Long Goodbye. Those are just 3 of the
Jesus.
movies that she wrote.
Right.
Yeah.
This woman was exceptionally good at writing. And it's well known that she wrote The Empire Strikes Back. And if you read her script, she wrote The Empire Strikes Back. Lucas likes to say, oh, well, I just credited her because I felt like it. I didn't really use
Oh,
anything.
That
Well-
pissed me off in the documentary when he's like, oh, she was dying and I wanted to give her credit. After everything in that documentary, I was like, motherfucker, you jacked everything she did. But we'll get to that. Sorry, I got very angry listening
But
to
the
it.
documentary made a very strong case for the idea that Lucas actually hired Leigh Brackett and her husband to write a spec script for Star Wars, and it was uncredited. And at first you're like, well, okay, maybe, but the evidence that mounts it's pretty overwhelming.
Yeah.
And see, I'm weird. They would have been like, so who wrote this? I'd have been Leigh Brackett, because she's the boss. I'd have been all like, but it was my genius that got it onto the screen, and my wife's editing skills.
Yeah,
it's a
but
team
this
effort.
is George Lucas that we're talking about.
Now, I
And-
just don't understand those people.
The man who
mean-
stole from everybody but claims he didn't.
His
Yeah.
wife is the reason, besides Leigh Brackett, his wife's editing of
Yes.
the movie Star Wars made it not shit. The fact they had a disco soundtrack in it originally, you fucking kidding me?
I had the old 8-track tape and the old big 78 RPM album that had the disco stuff on it,
Ugh,
Really?
God.
I remember that. That was pretty
including the dance version of the Star Wars disco theme, which lasts 15 and a half minutes.
Oh, dear God.
No.
So, to add insult to injury, not only did if Leigh Brackett and her husband did not write the original script as a spec script anonymously, what's worse is that not only did he rob those two blind with the first script, but Willow is an all but complete ripoff of the Black Amazon of Mars with a little bit of the Hobbit in it.
Mhm.
Yep. Well, I was gonna say, look at Howard the Duck.
I
Okay,
love that movie. I'm sorry, I love that movie.
but it's, I
I
don't
don't
know.
care.
Like
I love that movie.
the only thing
we
that I
can-
remember from that movie is feathered duck tits.
Me too.
No, I can tell you right now what a George Lucas script would look like on the screen. Attack of the Clones. Or no, it was Phantom Menace.
Phantom Menace.
Phantom Menace,
Ugh.
he wrote.
Even then, he stole a bunch of her shit and put
Yeah.
it in to the prequel trilogy. I mean, it's unreal.
And we have
Right.
reached the point now where the Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones, and whatever the fuck the last one was,
Revenge of the
aren't that
Sith.
bad of movies.
Actually, they really
Yeah.
are compared to the sequel trilogy.
Oh God.
They're
I'm looking
fucking
back at
Academy
those
Award
more
winners
fondly now.
compared to that.
I've been looking at prequel clips and I'm like, Jesus Christ, this is way better than the lightsaber fight between Rey and Kylo Ren on the fucking Death Star wreckage.
Yeah, I
How
would have to say that the new films are painful, where the prequels are just dull.
Yeah,
Yeah.
dull.
And
That was a
confusing.
good word.
I do have to admit, the opening dogfight at the beginning of Revenge of the Sith was actually pretty
That-
fucking good.
Yeah.
Oh man, that will always be the highlight. of
Yeah,
movie.
that was
I'm gonna watch that right
amazeballs.
now if I can find it, because I contend that the dogfight in the very first Star Wars film is the best aerial battle ever put to film.
It is.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny. You guys remember in the sequel trilogy how the ship went over there and was dropping bombs like it's World War II?
Oh God.
That was so stupid.
I was on some forum and everybody said there's no way you can make that work. And so the bombs in my series have a graviton attractor, which attracts to the nearest sense of mass, and the back fins are used for terminal guidance and a little bit of thrust. So yeah, I made it so you release them like bombs just to be fuck you to everybody as an asshole.
Nice.
Because they orient down because it attaches to the nearest large mass, and it just orients down. It's like a bombing run. Mostly because I was being contrary because I'm an asshole.
Okay, well, I suppose if by bomb you mean a guided gravity weapon, yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Opposed
but
to
they look
something
like
that's
they look like
self-propelled.
World War II bombs because they're being dropped from what looks like biplanes. Don't ask. It's weird. But yeah, I watched that scene and I was like, okay, even taking into account microgravity for sufficient mass and possible attraction from the artificial gravity on the ship, that's not how space or inertia or anything else works. And she's jumping up and down on the bomb rack like she's not going to fall out. And what that is he took that directly from World War II they took that directly from World War II bomber crews, whose once in a while their bomb deployment system would get damaged, and the guy would have to kick it down and then jump up and down on it.
Yeah.
And it's like, if your tech is at the point where you are still pulling, World War II shit, you might have a problem, man. And the other thing that got me about that whole scene is, oh, we lost X amount of ships to get rid of that big one. It's like, you realize that casualties are part of warfare, right? That you have to decide, is the amount of material and lives worth what you're taking from the enemy? And looking at it, yeah, it was. Because they lost, a dozen ships to take out a fucking massive war wagon? That's a win. I mean, the First Order lost tens of thousands of troops. They lost trillions of credits in material.
Amazed me about that movie. That's the
The
one thing
leaders,
that plagues me about that movie. You
the
killed
leadership.
so many. Oh, you.
No, go
I'll
ahead. Go
say
ahead.
no.
No,
They
I was
they killed
asking, was it the leadership?
they killed so many ships and everything, and yet the First Order still has an abundance of resources to at their disposal. Like they killed a whole freaking fleet of ships, and yet they still were able to launch some freaking tanks, walking
Yeah.
tanks for sure. I'm like, really, dude? You guys should be recouping your losses right now, not still trying to track the enemy down.
Well, because they never really gave us an idea of how big the First Order was. I mean, was it just a few planets and a few logistical systems, or was it a massive, hundreds of worlds spanning organization? And what was the rebellion? Were they like a dozen dudes with a fucking stolen TIE fighter and a jacked up X-wing, or was it supported by thousands of systems like the first one? They never give us a sense of that, so we don't know. And why the fuck do we have the rebellion? Why isn't the restored republic sending their military out after the First Order? Because obviously the First Order is a terrorist organization. Why
Well,
does Leia have to run around in the jungle in her panties again?
I honestly I agree with you with that. Like they went
It
from the
never made
rebellion
sense.
to the resistance. I'm like, why is there a resistance if the new republic exists? What are you resisting against? Wouldn't you just be the armed militia of the republic or their
How are
standing
you
army?
resisting? How are you resisting when your superpower is the dominant thing in the universe right now, and
See,
the enemy is attacking the superpower?
that's one thing I really liked about the Timothy Zahn expanded universe books, because it actually answered that question and it was brilliant. It's the, yeah, you fought the big bad and you've been freed. Now what are you going to do? And them all realizing, you know what? Creating a government and actually running it is hard.
Yeah.
It's
And
easier to break one.
not only that, trying to create a quote republic where everybody quote has an equal voice and equal representation is hard, because not everybody is contributing equally to the republic. And just how and they were started having a problem where people were going back to the what was left of the empire, not that they wanted to be part of the empire, but because it was a known thing.
And plus, it always
Balkans turn out to be real shitheads.
Oh, Bothans are total
You
shitheads.
start to realize, it didn't really matter that a bunch of them died. They were assholes.
Well, no, Manny Bothan was nice.
Manny, yeah. Yeah, it was one guy. Manny Bothans died.
Yeah, Manny Bothans died. Anyway,
Ross, you're about to go into a rant about leadership, right?
yeah, I've got a big rant on leadership for the sequel
Oh.
trilogy.
please
Let's
do.
hear it.
Please do.
Admiral Holdo is the worst military leader in science fiction movies. She is absolutely the fucking worst.
Admiral Bitchface.
Yes.
Admiral Gender
Okay.
Studies.
We're told repeatedly that she's a genius at warfare, and she's a tactical genius. Yet she got her ships into that situation with no fuel and being chased. How are you this fucking dumb? And then she doesn't share her plans with anybody. She blames her subordinates for taking initiative when she doesn't give any orders, and her punishments are wildly out of phase. She absolutely deserved to have them mutiny and put her under arrest, because for all intents and purposes, she looked like a fucking First Order spy. I mean, her leadership style was toxic. Her whole that lecture she gave in front of everybody. One of the first things in leadership they teach you is, if you're going to dress somebody down, you don't do it publicly. You take them to the side and you have a witness.
Well, she didn't just dress anybody down. That was their wing commander.
Yeah. She dressed down senior leadership. Okay, that would be, I mean, in the modern military, that shit would be charges. That shit would be, hey, you cannot do this to me. And who the fuck is this bitch? We know who Poe is. We know that Poe's got balls, he's got sass, and he's got skills. And then here comes some chick in a weird fucking sweater who wants to fucking talk about he's a cowboy. Well, I hate to tell you this, Admiral Gender Studies, but cowboys are what climb out of the trenches and fight. Cowboys are what win wars. I mean, yeah, that your infantry and your standard line, but he's leading the people who are going to win your war. He's leading the interceptor and the air and the space superiority wing. And she's up there dressing him down. And her plan was stupid. Her plan was so fucking stupid that it boggles the mind. Her whole plan was to lose 99% of their ships and then do a suicide run. Well, if you're such a tactical genius leader, congratulations. That would be like Patton deciding he's going to beat Rommel by throwing himself on top of Rommel's tank with a satchel charge, and then we lose everything he did in Europe. She's fucking stupid. The leadership of the rebellion or the resistance is so goddamn retarded. It's not even a military organization. It's a bunch of idiots wandering around in the woods thinking they're hot shit. I mean, from the fact they have a massive desertion, if you're having a massive desertion problem,
Maybe
your problems
Yeah.
are leader. Your problem is leadership. Okay. I mean, and you want I can put my money where my mouth is. They told us the day before we went across the wall and into Iraq that 300,000 of us were going to die in the first wave. That's why the second wave was staged in Europe, Turkey, and Crete, and Egypt. We went over the line anyway because we had good leadership and clear-cut mission objectives. These guys are deserting because Admiral Dipshit led them into a fucking situation where they're out of fuel. They can't fight back. When they do fight back, their senior wingman is fucking publicly humiliated. Yeah, they've got morale problems. Yeah, she's a fucking shitty. The leadership shown in the fucking sequel trilogy is so goddamn ridiculous. It's like she deserves none of the accolades she gets. And then you have to read the expansion material. Where I read the expansion material, some of it, I quit. And I get to this part where she is pathologically driven to change her hair color. And because she doesn't have any hair dye that day and she's so pathologically driven to change her hair color, she literally murders a pet to use its blood to dye her hair.
Ew.
What the fuck?
That's a psychopath. That is literally a psychopath. They have no uniform. One thing you can say about the Lucas films, the militaries had uniforms and standards. I mean, look at the First Order when you see all the fat people wandering around.
Yes.
What the fuck? I mean, and then
I
it's just the
forgot
whole
about the
leadership
fat
thing
chicks
is
in
terrible.
uniform.
The leadership is terrible. I mean, Darth Vader had a presence. You followed Vader because number one, he looked cool. Number two, he could do really cool shit. Number three, he was a total badass. And number four, he'll kill you. He'll kill the incompetent leadership. If you're the rank and file, that is like the wet dream of every fucking rank and file is for like the guy in charge to look at the general who's led you to 4 ambushes and go, "You are disappointing," and then just fucking kill him. That way you don't get put into another ambush. Vader, you'd follow. I get Vader following. Kylo Ren, he sucks as a leader.
Okay, I got one to throw in there about Holdo dressing down Poe.
Yeah.
I just finished a book about the AH-64 Apache operations that the Brits held in the Afghanistan war.
Yeah.
And there was this really big mission in which their elite team of pilots staged a rescue mission against orders.
Right. I remember that one.
Well, you know about this, right? Well,
yeah, I heard that. Yeah.
Half the leadership approved it, half of it didn't. And they went in, were successful, but the man himself didn't make it in the end because of a head wound.
Right.
Now, the CAG, or it's not a wing commander with helicopters. I forget what they call him. The guy that was in charge of the squadron
right.
of helicopters said, no, we did what was right, stood up to his superior, and literally everyone in the wing said, if he leaves, we're all going. Fuck you.
Yeah.
They would have lost their entire Apache unit if they had kicked out their leader.
Later years of Afghanistan and Iraq are a problem of leadership. But I mean, and you watch the original, and you can buy that. You can buy these people are generals and shit. When you watch this, you can believe it. When they sent everybody against the Death Star, they knew that 90% of these guys weren't coming back. And the pilots knew it. There was no, oh, you led your people on this run and you lost half our X-Wings and we have to still fight more battles. No, it was the Death Star's destroyed. Yeah, we got 3 guys back, but win. I mean, and then during Empire Strikes Back, you could believe the leadership. But the sequel trilogy had none of that. It had women putting men in their place and being told that this person is great, so we must assume they're great, even though their actions show differently. She wasn't a good leader. She was fucking terrible. I mean, she is the exact kind of officer that gets a fucking grenade rolled into her hooch in the middle of the night.
To
Because what was her plan?
sum up, so we come from people who believe in sacrifice for a well earned victory, right?
Yes.
Otherwise the universe is fucked, right?
Right.
To leaders who don't believe in sacrifice, let's call it what it is, writers who don't believe in sacrifice, but throw a gasket when they start losing people, then you get back onto a plan who is all who we have another hero who gets sacrifice blocked by somebody who don't believe in sacrifices.
Yes.
But we have a leader who will sacrifice a freaking kitten just to dye her fucking hair.
Yes. And they also made another critical mistake. There is a critical mistake they made. You never second guess the man on the ground during the operation. When Poe was making the attack run, he's got a visual that they don't have. He's seeing it from where they aren't. He's weighing the risk. If he's not a good leader, his men won't follow him. His men followed him. Not because they were blind, not because they were stupid, because they were experienced pilots also. And he's a leader. So when Holdo blew a gasket and fucking Leia blew a gasket, they were second guessing the man on the ground and ordering him to withdraw. What if he hadn't? What if he had? What if he'd followed their orders? That ship would have ripped their fucking fleet apart. You know, we're going to need those for later. Well, there's not going to be a later. There's an old joke that Hollywood doesn't understand, especially a lot of these new Hollywood writers. There's an old joke. It's the evening of it's a suicide mission, but it must be done. And the general goes up and he's got 100 men. He goes, "Men, this mission must be done. It's a suicide mission, but you can accomplish it. But I'm not going to lie to you. Out of the 100 of you, 99 of you are going to die." And he walks away. And every man there looks around and goes, "Man, it sucks to be them." That's how it works. But Holdo can't grasp that. Holdo can't grasp that. I mean, and plus, whoever made the space battles for the Fallout trilogy did not study actual aerial battles.
That's
They might
true.
have looked at some movies and that was it.
You know, Rian Johnston, the director, flat out said that he wanted that battle to be slow and not fast moving. He wanted to go against the grain and make something very slow and was it? Oh, how did he say it? It was like
He used flowery words to say he wanted it boring.
yeah.
He
Well, that
went
can
in
be
with the
nail-biting.
express purpose to destroy Star Wars, and he really succeeded. He
A
made it
slow
quite
and-
clear.
A slow and boring one can be fucking nail biting. A slow and boring fucking battle scene can be nail biting as fuck.
I can name it.
Go.
One of the best space battles ever done that mimics naval battles. Wrath of Khan.
Yes. God, that
Yes.
was tense. That was a
Yes.
fucking tense
Oh
fight.
yes.
Two ships. You don't have this big parade of everything blowing up. You don't have all these, just two ships.
It's almost like a submarine fight.
Yes, exactly.
It was patterned after.
Yep. As a matter of fact, Kirk even mentions it. That Khan is used to 2-dimensional fighting. We're used to 3-dimensional. He's not used to submarine fighting, so we'll play submarine. And it worked.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean,
Alexander was one. Slow fight, but really enthralling.
I don't,
Yes.
you know, you get the stakes also for the sequel trilogy. There was no stakes. You knew that, blank mannequin was going to win every fight she got in. You knew that she would shuffle out there and be better than everybody else, so there was no tension. You knew that she would save the day no matter what. And here's what got me: she's from a desert planet. Do you remember looking at that ocean? Remember looking at the ocean between where she was standing and the Death Star wreckage?
Yeah.
Okay, I worked on a shipping boat. I worked on a fishing boat a couple times. That's man killer seas, because the way you keep getting the triangle of death, you kept getting the triple waves of death, and you mean to tell me that somebody who grew up on a desert planet is going to sail a ship across that? They should have just said she flew. I would have believed that. The confidence levels are all over the chart, and they act like crossing that is no big deal because she believes in herself. The ocean doesn't care if you believe in yourself. The crew of the Edmund Fitzgerald believed in themselves.
Indeed, they did.
The crew of the Titanic believed in themselves. The sub crew believed in themselves. The ocean doesn't fucking care, and they show that, and I'm like, yeah, they're not getting across that. I mean, even with high tech hydrofoils and shit, you're dead. That shit's the waves are coming from 4 different directions, maybe 5. They're the crests are 20 feet up, and they're doing the deep pyramid troughs. Yeah, anything you take in there, you're going to get either turned on your side or waves are going to crash on top of your hull. You're done.
Should have had her ask somebody to take her aboard. She could have asked any random person.
Oh, she did, but they said you'd have to wait till tomorrow.
That
Little
is
Ray
that
was
is
used to getting things her way right then and
I
there.
want to know.
I just going back to how oh god, you were saying like Ray, Little Miss Perfect. Actually, never mind. I lost my train of thought. Fuck, dude. I should be on
let me lead
tonight. My
into
brain.
one rant that bugged me about Ray the most. She was no, there was no way of her involving her in the wars that the Resistance and the First Orders were fighting. It was just always a personal battle with her in each movie, mostly her against Kylo. There's hardly any moment where she participates in anything the Resistance do.
No,
That's what I was trying to remember when Ralt's called her Little Miss Mannequin, which I love because she has no personality. At least in the original trilogy and even parts of the prequel trilogy, the main characters, Luke and Anakin, had major character growth and personality and change. She literally was a Barbie doll with a lightsaber.
They are also
No, Barbie dolls have
involved.
curves.
They are
Oh
also
yeah, you're
involved.
right.
Sorry, they are also involved in major events in the story. Luke
mm-hmm.
was a part of the Rebel Alliance. Anakin
Yeah,
was a part of the Jedi Order. By that extension, the what are the good guys side called in the Republic
the,
side,
the rebellion,
not the Rebellion. Prequels faction.
Oh,
There's
the Republic. The Republic.
the old
yeah
Republic.
yeah the Republic. Yeah, he was fighting along with the Republic against the Separatists.
Yeah, no,
So that
there was no reason for her to be in the movies. You're right, Wolf. She literally did not belong.
You can lift out the struggle between the First Order and the Resistance and have an adventure film featuring an overpowered mannequin, or you can lift out Rey and have a war movie between the Resistance and the Republic, I mean, in the First Order, and nothing would be lost from either story except for the point where she shows up and lifts up that 2 million metric tons of rock
On her first try, no
on her
less.
first try.
She's only been trained as a Jedi for less than 24 hours at this point when
Like
she
a
lifts the
year.
rock.
I'll go as far as a year.
God, I
But
hate that
her
line.
story
What she
was going
said.
concurrent to them running in space, which I thought was less than a day.
I don't
No,
think there really was a timeline. I think shit just happened when they said it happened.
No, that is
you want to
true.
know the
I mean,
measure?
that movie was
I'm
so
sorry.
disjointed, and then adding in the fucking military-industrial complex casino that didn't even belong in the movie either. Jesus, it was bad.
Want to know the measure of Ryan Johnson not giving a fuck about Star Wars? What is it that you know about the Force? It's all about lifting rocks, right? I fucking groaned when I heard that shit. I was like, that sounds like somebody who's never heard of Star Wars only giving you the what they think is the bare bones basis of it. I was like, fuck off with that line, Ryan. Fuck off with that. That's what you know about Star Wars. Okay.
It's like that stupid line that was in Avengers and then later put into Justice League. What's your superpower? I'm rich.
Yeah. Well,
It's
the
like
other thing it
Batman's more
shows,
rich. Batman's compassionate. He's got a superpower called compassion. God damn it.
there's a huge thing in Hollywood, and it started, God, I don't know, probably 2000s is what it got bad. The directors, the writers, and the producers go out of their way to not know anything about the subject matter.
Yeah,
What else? What is up with that? I,
and they
I
brag
don't
about it.
understand. I mean,
I'm
I
sorry.
do, but at the
What
same
I
time, I
miss?
don't.
I was reading something Airgear was had typed up. What did you guys say?
Oh, talking about how people in Hollywood now make sure not to know the source material on whatever they're working on. It's
And they
almost like
brag about it.
literal head in sand.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, somebody had brought that up to me. I think it was Draco Nightmare that brought that up in one of our conversations. And I was like, oh, that's dangerous.
Well,
That's very that's
it's so they can claim that everything that they came up with was out of their own brain and they didn't build on anybody else because they're so special and great.
worse. Worse. They could take your brand and adapt it any way how they want because the contract told them to.
Yeah.
They could they could
What
they could turn say what's a good example? They could remake
soup?
Legend and put a whole lot of sexual orgies in it.
They can have Superman's powers come from a suit that comes out of a can.
I still cannot believe that was a thing.
Yes, it was.
I mean, they apparently read the wrong comic because it was the Flash that had his uniform come out of a ring.
Hey, come on, go inside. Go inside. Go
Happy
inside,
dog.
puppies.
Well,
Come on.
according to the videos by Paul Chatto, aka Ed Gruberman of Boot to the Head, who
Taekwon Leap.
Taekwon Leap, yes, because he was a Hollywood insider and a
Go
producer.
inside.
He flat out said that in his experience, it was just that the people making movies now, before he left Hollywood because he was sick of it. Actually, no, he got fired because he was a Gen Xer and they didn't want him anymore. Was that the people now running Hollywood had complete contempt for fan bases and resented the fact that they needed to buy these old properties to make any money.
That's another problem. Why do you resent the people that are giving you your paycheck by paying to see your creations? Why the fuck do you resent those people? The only reason you and your creation exists is because of those people who are interested. It
Well,
blows my mind.
They want
according to
their
Paul
government
Chatto,
checks.
the point of view he said they had was that they feel they're better educated, richer, and more cultured than the rest of us, and we're a bunch of idiot slobs sitting in the Midwest eating TV dinners and wiping our ass with our hand.
And they want that government
Wow.
money.
Yeah, and they know better.
Because they get that government money.
Well, they're all crying now because nobody wants to watch their shit. I mean, like the writer's strike, in my opinion, is a huge failure. No one cares.
Yeah, fire all of them.
Yeah. I mean, they already admitted that parts of the movie, The Marvels, like the opening cinematic, was all done by AI. So yeah, fuck them.
Really?
Yep.
Yeah.
No,
I'm
no, no. Explain
speechless.
this. I want to hear this.
I only heard a blur, but they said the opening cinematic for the Marvels movie was actually done by AI, and it got leaked. And the writers got all up in arms, and I guess Disney Marvel had to come back and be like, no, 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 we did the opening cinematic, we were testing it out. But that's why they were testing it out. They were testing to see, can they make a movie without a lot of people that they have to pay? Can they just do it all through Chat GPT? I mean, self-fulfilling prophecy. Wow, silence.
Yeah, well, The only thing I can think of is a line from The Player, which is a movie that came out in the 90s. And it was pretty much Hollywood is a bunch of shitbags. And one of the end lines is something to the effect of, well, this is great. Now, if we can just get rid of the writers and the actors, we could make a movie without anything.
That's the way they're going. So, I mean, like I said, self-fulfilling prophecy, and I'm okay with it because all these people shit all over us and ruined
Yeah.
all of our favorite IPs. So fuck them. You get what
Well,
you deserve.
what would be hilarious is if the AI does a better job than the current woke crop of idiots.
I honestly think it could. I mean, look,
Yeah,
you
it's not
read
hard.
Gabby Rivera's books today. I think an AI can do better.
Yeah, it could.
I want it to
Actually, it could
happen.
make a more
Well,
likable character.
one of the things that people forget about the writer's strike is these are the scabs of the last writer's strike striking.
Really? I did not know that.
Oh, here we go. Here's the line. Kat, will you please read this in a sleazy voice?
In a sleazy voice?
This is from The Player.
Okay. Well, I was just thinking what an interesting concept it is to eliminate the writer from the artistic process. If we could just get rid of these actors and directors, maybe we've got something here.
Well, here we are.
Damn.
Oh, I don't feel bad for them because they're all terrible, and they're right that the corporation treats them like trash because the corporations have had open script calls with certain organizations, and you put in your open script call and you don't get anything back, and you find out that some writer did it, and then you watch the movie and you see parts of your script in it.
Well, I think that's how Lee Brackett felt about Star Wars.
Not necessarily. I
really?
stand by the idea that, she was a working writer. She knew the business. She'd been fucked over once and said never again. I totally think that Lucas paid her to do a spec script, and it was on a ghostwriting basis. And then when it blew up and he came back to her, she said, "I want my name on it."
That I do. I no, I agree with that. In the documentary, even when they interviewed her after the movie, and she got really tense about like, oh, this movie is like space opera has come to the masses, and she's like, I've been writing space opera since the 40s and the 30s and the 40s. Sci-fi has been around forever. This isn't the first space opera.
Sci-fi and space opera, they're always like, oh, we're bringing it to the masses. No, we already had it. It's people like you who read this bullshit that nobody fucking reads and then goes, oh, the masses don't appreciate this.
Well, the
I'm
masses
sorry.
don't want General Admiral studies as a leader that they
No.
can get behind when watching a movie. It sucks too because I like Laura Dern. She's a fantastic
Oh,
actress.
yes, the actress is amazing.
I was so stoked. Okay, I'm going to admit that I made a huge mistake. I was so stoked that she was in the movie that I ordered her little Funko Pop bobblehead. And like after I saw that movie and I came home, I put it into a box and we don't speak of it anymore. I think I might launch it to an explosive. But no, I was super stoked. I mean, like I said, Laura
She was
Dern.
decent in Fallen Kingdom. She was kind of decent. Though I'm mad at the fact that Fallen Kingdom did not raise to Part 3.
Yeah.
Oh, y'all want me to elaborate?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's divorced to the guy from Jurassic 3, but they only make a brief mention. I'm like, oh man, y'all had a good Jurassic World. You had it good. You went off to a good start in the first movie. You went through the Spinosaurus, said fuck that movie. You went to the second movie, forgot that movie, and then you had to mention Jurassic Park 3. You could have just erased the baby and the husband and just got her and Alan Gray together. They kind of do, but still, I'm still mad at the fact that she got some no name dude and got pregnant by him and divorced him in the third movie. I was like, that was a waste.
Recently
What
found
is
out who her mother was.
what is
Hey,
up with Jurassic Park with divorcees?
because that way it makes all these box wine ants with 5 cats and 3 divorces under their belt feel better about themselves. Oh, I could have been
Apparently,
her. She's got a career and 6 divorces. It could have been me. It's to make them feel better because that's all they know. They don't understand people that are together.
that was the reason
Nowadays,
Lex and Tim were on the island in the first movie was because their parents were going through a divorce.
well, that's all Hollywood understands. They can't grasp that people stick through things even when times get tough. These motherfuckers will leave each other because someone can't screw in a light bulb. Of course,
Or
part
just
of the
plain
problem
they
is
got
getting in there.
bored.
Yeah.
They got bored, or they started believing the lie of the movie they're in, and they get involved with their co-star.
Oh,
Yeah.
there's something I want to bring up that I brought up in front that I want to bring up Ishi in the green one last time, and it's concerning the new material they got with the games and stuff. I mean, what's really bugging me about this current gen of Star Wars is that they keep introducing new things right in the middle of the OG trilogy, like droids, like K2SO units from Rogue One. I'm like, when, when did they get decommissioned and why? That one freaking ship that Candra's flies in, that's supposed to be part of the rebellion's weapons. When did that get decommissioned? That seemed like a very good asset. Why'd you decommission that? You know? And then on top of that, the new every time you introduce a new character, whatever shit that they saddle them with does not reflect their personality at all. Design and the make alike. Like you see Han Solo flying the Millennium Falcon, you can tell the Millennium Falcon is his.
Yeah.
When you see Luke in the X-wing, even though that's a military ship, the X-wing is his. It will always be his.
Yeah.
When
Yeah.
when you see like say for instance Anakin Skywalker flying a Jedi, a Jedi Starfighter. So again, that's military for sure, but that's part of him. Same thing. Same thing with Darth Vader's Star Destroyer. That's his. I looked
Yeah,
at.
it's got where he got bored and scratched Annie loves dead girl.
It's like the thing is when I look at Jedi Fallen Order, I'm like, okay, that's a fine shit, but I don't. That does not look like that fits this crew. This is like this is like somebody watched Guardians of the Galaxy and just copy the mulatto because it flies like it's just like a sailboat, but when it lands, it folds. Like one part of the flash fold to the side or something like that. It's a strange design ship. It's unique, but it does not look like it fit that crew. You know,
You know, I'm being honest. I don't know what you're talking about because I haven't seen the film.
it's a game.
There's a lot of problem with that in Star Wars and a lot of science fiction is there is no function over form. It's all will this look cool as a toy?
Yeah.
Not why does this do
Unfortunately.
this? I mean, a TIE bomber is very, very noticeable. It's the
Yes.
one with the tooth. It's got the bomb bay and then it's got the pilots, and that is definitely form over function. Function over form. I mean, it's an ugly little thing, but it does its job. You don't see that in the modern trilogy. It's
No.
all the first and last question everybody asks is, will this look good as a toy?
I will argue that Rogue One, that the design team did get the aesthetic right with the ships.
Oh yeah,
Oh, don't
Rogue
you-
One is
actually,
brilliant. I
both
think
of
out of
you-
all the Disney stuff, Disney Star Wars stuff that's come out, Rogue One is the best, and probably the only one that actually fits into the original Star Wars.
I was
I
thinking
think
about Rogue
it's
One.
Rogue One is the only one where you get to see is it the A wing with all of its armor on it, or is it the B wing?
No, it's the Y wing with all its
Y-wing.
armor on it.
Okay, thank you.
I will
Yeah,
say it's
that's
about
the only
Rogue One.
one.
Yeah, you see Y wings that aren't stripped down,
Mhm.
and
I was
you
saying,
find out why they were stripped down now.
Yeah.
Speed. Wasn't it Speed?
I think that was one of the reasons, but yeah, they were all just battered and battered to shit.
I thought they were also salvaged.
Yeah, they were salvaged. I mean, yeah, that's the thing. When the people at ILM, before they were ILM, it was what, Dystra and I forget, was it who else it was that actually modeled the ships?
Mm-hmm.
Did approach it with an idea of, okay, well, this one's old and it was scrapped together, so we'll approach it this way, and this is the newer one, and so I mean, there was some logic to it.
Oh, that was the whole George Lucas wanted the aesthetic of used future, so everything was super futuristic, but it was battered and banged up.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
what's
that was-
behind Luke? What's behind Luke when he's looking at the two droids? A civilian version of the X-wing.
Yes. Yes, you're right.
So many people miss that when, like, oh, he just jumped at a ship he'd never used and was able to pilot. No, he didn't.
Where do I find this?
No. It's when they're buying the droids on Tatooine.
No, it's after. It's when he's sitting at his house and he's got like R2D2 and C3PO in front of him. You can see the terrain hopper one behind him.
Oh yeah.
I never picked up on that. That's something I have to look up now.
And then he says, well, it's no different than hitting Womp Rats in Beggar's Canyon. He was a pilot before him and his buddy were going out and doing, him and Wedge were going out and doing stunt shit.
Yeah.
Well, not like it really matters or anything, but in an earlier draft of the script and in the audio drama, they kept this. There is a whole segment where you see Luke racing his, oh God, what did he call it?
With
His ship.
speeder?
Yeah, his speeder.
Mm-hmm.
They were flying them through the canyon at Beggar's Canyon.
Well, they
shooting
even
Womp Rats.
they
Actually, it was
mention
in
it.
the script.
They actually do mention it. They mention it when they're planning on assaulting the Death Star. When they're like,
Right.
oh, you can't take something down a canyon like that. And he's like, it's no different than Beggar's Canyon. We hit Womp Rats and we're as kids.
Yeah, they
And
were
yeah,
they were 2 meters in size. I remember that. He says they were the same size as that port.
But yeah, it actually, that was supposed to be a callback to an actual scene in the film that didn't get used.
That's where you get the he didn't know how to fly. He didn't know how to fly an X-wing, but he just jumped in it and took out the Death Star. They used to excuse walking mannequin. And no, plus he knew how to work on evaporators. He knew how to work on droids. Everybody acts like, and see, this is just more of the modern shit. Because he's a farm boy, he obviously had to be taught not to eat sand. It doesn't matter that he's got more technical knowledge than these people that come out of the Imperial Academy. He knows how to fix a water evaporator. He knows how to work on droids. He knows all kinds of shit. Because when that robot blew out, when the robot blew out, what did he say? This one's got a bad motivator. He knew what was wrong with it just by the way it fucking self-destructed. And it's little nods to competence like that modern audiences don't get.
Well, how is he supposed to know that just by looking at it?
Yeah. When I've been able to fucking figure out something was wrong with something by the noise it made.
Same here.
Good example. When you lay on the brakes and you hear a squealing sound coming from your back end, from your front tires, what's wrong? Your brake pads are
anyone
going.
who actually knows of the scene Rolls is talking about, the civilian version of the X-wing?
It's him working on the droid, 3PO's taking an oil bath.
He's
Okay,
flying
maybe-
the toy Imperial ship.
Yeah.
Well,
And in the background, you can see it. It's half covered with a tarp, but you can see it. Because I remember I was a kid, and I was like, he's got his own spaceship. I want my own spaceship.
Didn't we all? We all wanted that damn X-wing.
Yes, we did.
Yeah.
Hey, Issy, did you get that image I sent you?
Hello.
When?
Check your email.
Actually, I'm going to say I wanted the Millennium Falcon more than an X-Wing.
I want the Outrider since Shadows of the Empire.
I'm kind of a dork. I always wanted the Viper. After I thought the X-wing was cool till I saw the Viper.
I always wanted Vader's TIE fighter, specifically
I want
Vader's
one of those
TIE
ships that
fighter.
was on fire.
Holy shit! Is this real?
Yes.
Okay, we're sharing this.
Please, I want to see it.
I'm
Yeah, I was going
sharing
to say,
this,
with
and
that
then,
reaction, I need to know.
and then Rolf is going to tell you what I'm looking at.
Tell me when it's up because I'm on the back porch.
Okay, it's up.
Okay, that was posted on Twitter by somebody who has been talking about all day that they had screening tickets. That is opening night, Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. Right before they turn the lights off.
Wow.
They had already blinked.
Damn.
They had already blinked the lights to let everybody know they were about to start. That is an opening that is suicide-inducing.
Yes.
That's not you, right? That's not from you.
That
No,
should
no.
be a fire everybody site.
Yeah, and that's obviously not some podunk theater in the middle of nowhere.
No,
That's
those are like brand new seats.
That's obviously a high-end big city.
Jeez.
They are saying right now that it's on track to lose $350 million.
Holy crap.
Because everybody's tired of the woke shit, and Phoebe Waller-Bridge is trash.
She's an
Well,
insufferable cunt.
Yes.
I'm not too familiar with this lady. How bad is she?
Okay, I'm
She
going to
made
take
her
this one.
career being a bitchy feminist.
Yeah.
Okay, so in the movie Solo, she was cast as L337, which is,
Oh, that bitch.
stupid. Yeah. She
Leet?
changed the character
was
to
Leet?
because she couldn't have the feminist part of because she's a screaming feminist. So she had robots' rights, and she was also the one that talked to is it John Kasdan was the guy that was writing the screenplay, that she should be in a relationship with Lando Calrissian. That's why Lando Calrissian became pansexual.
Well, you know
And
what?
that
Anything?
whole
Equal
scene
rights?
where she gets shot apart and she's dying and Lando is screaming and crying because he's just lost the love of his life. I was laughing my ass off.
Dude, I can replace her with a Furby and a fleshlight.
Exactly.
That's literally what he's in a relationship with, is a Furby with a fleshlight.
Her fucking personality is, you need me to get anything? Equal rights? I was like, oh wow.
Han Solo sat in the her seat in the movie and she says, "Get your presumptuous ass out of my seat."
Yeah.
It's like, you are a machine. I am a divine creature blessed by God. Get out of my way before I shoot you with a blaster.
Like the whole thing too was the reason the Millennium Falcon had a weird brain and personality by Empire Strikes Back is because Lando tried to save her life by putting her personality in the Millennium Falcon, and that's why in Empire Strikes Back when 3PO says your ship has a peculiar dialect, it's because it's L337.
Now, see,
No.
in the
It's the
books,
dumbest shit.
That's not a fucking dialect.
in the books, they excuse that as the Millennium Falcon had so many different parts and so many different computer systems, and Han was too lazy to clear the cache that it just developed its own fuck you. Like
It
Wally.
did.
Wally is a product of buffer overruns. Nobody's ever flushed his fucking cache files, so he's developed things.
Well, they even talk about that in the very first, New Hope, I guess it's called now, where they say, if you don't erase the droid, they gain a personality and become independent.
Yeah, that's what happened to IG-88. Wow, silence. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was coming dog part
No,
of my
that
hand.
thing.
No
that thing
problem.
scared
Oh,
the
no,
crap out of me.
I went on my solo rant, so I was
No.
letting everybody else go.
No, it's just the the depths of stupidity with all of this, right down to the simple fact that the words Star Wars is a license to print money, and they somehow fucked it up.
Look,
Not only did they fuck it up, they fucking burnt down the printing press.
a fucking sea slug with Down syndrome could have done a better job and made money.
Does everybody here?
Something halfway enjoyable, and they would have been fine.
I am going to use an ancient parable to describe what happened with Disney Star Wars. A long time ago, there was a village and it was very poor, and the village made a deal with some fae to provide them with grain, and in return, they got a goose. And this goose would lay 1 golden egg a month. Well, that enriched the village, and they were able to improve their lives. And until some genius came up with, well, you know, what if we kill the goose to get all the eggs at once? And so they killed the goose and opened it up, and there was no golden eggs. There was just there was eggs in various stages of development. The village became on poverty, and everybody starved to death. That's what happened with Disney Star Wars. They killed the golden goose.
Yeah.
Because the first thing you kind of have to look. See, I know about this because stupidity, and I get into weird stuff. The big thing was Disney. The first thing they did was they got rid of the EU. Now everybody says there's all kinds of reasons that people give you, but I'll give you the real reason. I'm going to quote John McClane. It's always about the money. They got rid of the EU so that they didn't have to pay any of the authors anything at all whatsoever by saying, no, we got rid of that. Because remember when, what's his name? That mouth breather, that fucking Chuck Wendig. Chuck Wendig was all thrilled that they included one of his characters. Well, number one, the character didn't have a name, and they killed him in the first battle, which was basically a word to all the EU writers that your shit is gone. You're not getting paid for anything. Because they tried to tell Alan Dean Foster, no. See, we bought the rights to the book, not the debts. We don't have to pay you. The second thing they wanted to do with the new Star Wars series is they said, we don't want them to be buying toys that we're going to have to pay LucasArts for. Because fucking Lucas bent everybody over the barrel and fucked him in the ass on the toy rights. And he got an obscene fucking cut of the toys. So they're like, we have to come up with new toys so that nobody will buy Lucas's toys. So we have to get rid of the old characters. Now, because everybody's stupid, they said it 20 minutes after the last movie. When the first thing they did was they were like, all those old characters you like, oh, they're all stupid and deadbeats, which is why you have these articles coming out now with Star Wars isn't afraid to show, and modern Hollywood isn't afraid to show iconic characters who failed to live up to their dreams and standards. So they do
like
character
Han
assassination.
Solo becoming an alcoholic and selling his medal after Ben went to the dark side. Yeah. It's absolutely retarded.
But so they got rid of everything that you liked because what you liked won't earn them money. And then they came out online and said what you liked is wrong. What you liked was never good. That's the big thing. Star Wars was never good, and that's why this is a good thing. And, you saw those articles. So they got rid of it. It's all about the money. When they built their $1 billion hotel that they wanted $5,000 a night for, you didn't get to meet Princess Leia. You got to meet Princess Dipshit and her dancing retards. When you go to the Star Wars, what? Oh, because I'm an ass.
Because you come up with lines like that because it's so honest.
And then, you went to Galaxy's Edge. Galaxy's Edge was their little theme park. Now, here's the huge thing. You're going to make a theme park. You're going to have toys for kids, right? Right there. You're going to sell toys for kids. You're going to sell lightsabers and robots. Do you know what the first rule they put down was? No playing with the toys in Galaxy's Edge. There was nothing set to the side for the kids to play lightsaber battles. There was nowhere for them to run their robots around. You bought this stuff, and the kid had to carry the package around Disneyland. I've had kids. I know that your kid is on the edge of crying because he can't play with BB-38. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to buy my shit and then leave. I'm not staying for your overpriced drinks. And then I'm going to look and see that a BB-38 rolling testicle droid it cost me $138 here when I can go on Amazon and buy it for $25.
Mm-hmm.
Why? And so they didn't want R2-D2. They wanted the rolling testicle. They brought back R2D2, but he's shut down. They give. I guess they thought it was comedy. It was supposed to show that stuff happened, but they committed a huge problem. They were like, C-3PO was like, "Oh, you might not recognize me because I have a red arm." Well, I got it because, and they shut him up. You never find out why I got the red arm. And the next movie is he doesn't have a new one. He has a new
They
one.
wrote that in the comic books. He had his own limited series, and apparently he has the arm in memory of a droid who was fighting in the droid resistance because they wanted droid rights going back to L337.
Oh God.
And
here's the
so
thing.
he replaced his arm with that droid's arm in memory, and then put his old arm back. Yeah.
Oh,
The
Jesus.
only reason that anybody would buy these comics and these books is if they're big time fans, but they didn't give anybody a reason to like any of these people. They didn't give any reason. Why should I like Space Janitor? Why should I like Walking Mannequin?
I just want to point out one more thing about Galaxy's Edge, because I have a friend whose sister is a cast member at Disneyland. People were showing up on opening day with their children in costume. Children in costume, not adults in costume. Children, and they turned them away.
Yes.
Yeah.
And, it's like, okay, I understand the rule of you don't go to Disneyland in costume because they don't want child molesters, pretending to be, workers of the park. I get that. But opening fucking day, come on, people, just, you're going to send people home because their 5-year-old is just dressed like, fucking, what'd you call her? Mannequin.
Yeah. Well, it makes no sense. And Neostar, no, they didn't. They focus tested it, but they focus tested it with their in group.
Yeah,
You got to
they did.
remember, focus testers are so goddamn stupid. They
They-
ruined the ending of I Am Legend because
These
focus
peop-
testers are retards.
These people said that they would pay $15 for blue milk. Think of
Yes.
Ugh.
Focus testers and screen and original initial screeners are so fucking stupid that the end of the I Am Legend originally, if you get the DVD, you can see it. The head vampire, the head creature, slams his hands against the glass and makes a butterfly mark.
Oh, I love that ending. That's such a better ending.
And he looks and he sees, that this female creature has a butterfly tattoo. And then he looks at the wall and he sees that he's experimented on hundreds of them. And he realizes that he is a legend. He's something that's terrifying to these, and he brings him out and gives her to them, and they leave. But because the audience didn't understand it, we got our blow everything up retarded ending.
Well, the
Yeah,
original
fuck that
ending to the
ending.
remake of I Am Legend was following with the one with Vincent Price, where at the
Yep.
end he's like, "Oh shit, I am the monster." And that's why I thought the other ending was beautiful because it showed that the vampires actually had intelligence. They just couldn't speak anymore.
And and that's how you get. God, I can go on and on. I'm just a nobody who got hit by lightning, and I can point out tons of writing issues in the new trilogy. And yeah, Lucas had its problems. The sequel trilogy had its problems. They turned up Anakin's whining a little too much, and they went a little over dramatic. And even Lucas admitted at the end of it that the big problem was he was the one that first created the use the actors by himself talking to a ball and everything's green. He's the one that started that, and the pressure to act under that, because none of these actors had ever done that before, is why you get such stilted wooden performances. And he also knew he took a huge risk with a child. Nobody likes child actors. Nobody. Everybody hates them. Okay, there's a reason everybody hates them. They're annoying little shitheads. So at least he didn't try to dumb the story down, and at least he wasn't spitting on you, insulting you. It's just there was problems. There was technical problems. There was acting problems. There was trying something new problems. The sequel trilogy has no excuse.
They could have
the
learned
whole-
from the first.
Yeah, the whole thing of getting rid of everything from prior. That's why they wanted to get rid of X-Wings. But nobody likes that. Nobody liked that they got rid of X-Wings at first. And nobody liked their new ship designs. Nobody liked the new characters, to the point where, and they let, there's so much wrong with this from a writing perspective that we can't even get into it here.
Right.
Much less casting. The first thing that went through my head is I was watching the original, and the opening scenes of the original were fucking Star Wars. When that guy next to Finn dies, and Finn gets the blood on his face mask and he's shaking and everything, and you can tell he's all fucked up. That was obviously his first battle. He was obviously a stormtrooper in his first battle, and he's horrified. I can understand. They could have made an excellent story out of the first battle was so horrific, and this wasn't what he signed up for. He didn't sign up to slaughter villagers. He didn't sign up to slaughter people who can't fight back. And then they made a huge mistake with, number one, they had Poe smart-mouthing Kylo Ren, which the first time Poe said something smart-mouth, Kylo Ren should have force choked him. They completely neutered Kylo Ren, and then they made the classical mistake, which you have with Hollywood, is, well, we're paying for this actor. We want the audience to see their face. They had Kylo Ren remove his mask. That was the dumbest thing they could have done, because I burst out laughing.
I agree. They should never have made him remove his mask.
What he looked like should have been a mystery until. And see, think about it. Think if you don't know what Kylo Ren looks like, and the only way you've heard is his synthesized voice, and then Walking Mannequin starts having dreams about a kind of sexy guy, a fellow Force user, only you don't know it's Kylo Ren, because you've never seen Kylo Ren without his mask. And he's dressed in a Jedi robe. He's dressed in a black Jedi robe with a red belt. There's your hint that he's with the Sith, and he's talking to her about, the old Jedi and the old Sith. They left us a galaxy in ruin and at war. We can do a better way. And you have no idea that this is Kylo Ren until she confronts him at the wreckage of the Death Star.
That's a better story.
Yeah, that is a better story.
That tiny little change would have massively changed the whole dynamic. Especially if he was like, Luke couldn't train you. I can. Take my hand and I will train you, and we can bring the universe back to order. We can bring the galaxy back to order, and we can make it so that little girls like you aren't sold by drunks and left in the desert to scavenge. Save your younger self and take my hand. We could have seen her being seduced by the dark side hardcore. But no, instead we have Kylo Ren taking his mask off in the first half hour. And then we find out that Luke Skywalker, the guy that believed there was good in Darth Vader, tried to kill his nephew because his nephew was having a nightmare. What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hated that scene. That scene pissed me off so bad. I was like, he would have never raised a hand to him. Instead, he would have talked to him about the dream and worked it out.
Mm-hmm. The next day, Luke would have been like, what did you have a dream about?
Anakin.
Yeah. What did you have a dream about last night? You were dreaming, your nightmare was so terrible that it disturbed the Force and brought me to you. And you were obviously having a nightmare, but I didn't want to intrude. What was it about? You're my nephew. Tell me, But God forbid they show non-toxic male interaction.
Well,
I mean, look what they did to Han Solo too. I mean, they destroyed the two strong male characters from the first movies. So, I mean, yeah.
No, I'll go further, okay? I think it's because it was written by people who have no fucking empathy for anybody.
No,
they don't. Yes.
They don't have any concept of familial love, much less, general kindness or empathizing with anything.
No. They have no idea. I mean, when I went to school, when I went to college, I knew a girl whose father works in FX. He was an expert at fire and smoke, and that pays a lot. Mm-hmm. He was the high-paid fire and smoke dude. And I met some of the people she knew. And these people were startled about the fact that when she got all upset, she called me up and, she was like, I'm upset. And I'm like, what do they hear from me? What's wrong? Tell me about it. And they would ask her, well, what's in it for him? And she's like, nothing. He's my friend. Well, what's in it for him? Nothing. He's my friend. He's probably half drunk right now. And it boggled their mind that because I liked her and she liked me, and what else boggled their mind? No sexual tension. I'm married. I'm married and she's 20 years younger than me. No. I'm 40. I'm not into
when has
that.
that ever stopped a sick fuck in Hollywood?
True. And they were like, so, does he, do you have to like blow him? And she's like, no, he's old. But they were startled by the fact that I would give this girl empathy because I liked her. She drove me to the VA a couple times. I was having a meltdown, but they were completely baffled by human compassion, human empathy, they're willing to do something for somebody else without an immediate reward. She told him, well, yeah, I know, because when she got sick, I went to her house. I cleaned her up. I put her in a nightgown. I carried her out to the car. I took her to the ER and I sat there until, they told me what was wrong with her. And she got the flu, she got the stomach flu, but she didn't drink any fluids and got dehydrated. So I just waited for her took her back. And her friends were all like, oh, why did he do that? Why did he do that? And she's like, because I was sick and he is my friend. Well, there has to be an ulterior motive. Did he molest you? And she's like, no, I was kind of gross when he showed up. I was too delirious to get out of bed. I was kind of disgusting. She's like, he made my bed. He had to make my bed. It was disgusting. And they're like, he wants something from you. Yeah, you know what I wanted? I wanted somebody I could sit there and bitch about my last class with while I drink a beer. But those people can't comprehend it. And you see this in modern TV and modern books that two men cannot have a relationship that isn't sexual.
Yeah.
Oh God, that drives me nuts.
Because if Ishi's having a bad day and he can call me, and if I'm having a bad day, I can call him. To these people that write this stuff, obviously that means I want to hold this bulbous little head down and see if I can stretch out a little gray ass. Obviously.
Oh my goodness. That's descriptive.
Obviously, that's what's going on,
Yes.
And it's like, no, men can be friends without fucking each other. Stop reading the gay porn.
I think that goes back to the yaoi that has infected these people. They really like that kind of fan fiction. Do you remember when people were screaming about how Bucky and Steve Rogers needed to be together in a relationship? It was obviously that they were in love.
Yeah.
It was like, where the fuck did you pick up that?
And Sam.
Yeah. Oh, Frodo and Sam are obviously lovers. No, they're really good friends, for fuck's sake. That's because, like I've ranted on here before, none of these people have ever done anything outside of Hollywood. They have no idea about forming close attachments. They have no idea that if you save my life, you can call me 20 years later to help you move,
I think also in Hollywood, the mentality really is, what do I get out of it?
Yeah.
Everything is, what do I get out of it?
And you see that in the movies. I mean, like I said, I was furious when they were like, when he was like, oh, I'm a janitor. That's not how the military works. That's not how any military works. Everybody's a janitor. You know what? You know how much time I spent running a buffer? I mean, and I was like top end shit, dealt with top secret shit. I'm Saturday morning, I'm using a buffer.
With all the stories you told me about pissing off your COs, I think you probably were a janitor a lot.
Well, no, they didn't even use janitor duties to punish me because everybody did janitor duties. No, my being punished was living in a hole for 30 days while it's raining. But, he's like, oh, I'm a janitor. Oh, way to go with the stereotypes. Is he a janitor because he's black? I'll bet you said he's a janitor because he's black. Not that he's a highly trained stormtrooper trained in maneuver and fire. No, we can't have that. The whole fucking thing, the whole fucking sequel trilogy, I watched it after the first one just to watch the train wreck. I mean, I got
there's never been any black men in the infantry.
No, there's never been any black men in infantry. And the sequel trilogy has so many problems that it retroactively killed the brand. And you can say whatever you want, but the sequel trilogy retroactively killed the brand. And now they're coming out with the new Star Wars movie is going to be the most feminist one ever.
Ugh.
How is it going to be more feminist than blank mannequin doing everything better than everybody else?
Because she's good. They said that she's supposed to be training another blank mannequin that's even better than her.
What's the challenge? What's she challenged by?
Just that it's a Jedi. She's the latest teacher to reopen the Jedi Academy. That's the challenge. Seriously,
Bull.
Ugh.
she's training the next generation of Jedi. I've already seen that story, and that was it was the second trilogy after Heir to the Empire when the twins are born, and Luke starts the first Jedi Academy, and they find that the planet that they're on was actually a Sith temple.
Oh, wait a minute. I read that one. There was a clone of the
great.
Empire. There was a clone of the Emperor in it.
Yeah.
It was a
That's-
fantastic series.
That's the other thing. Come up with a new bad guy. Snoke was a terrible bad guy.
Agreed.
Was he even
Yeah.
a character?
Long enough to get cut in half by his own lightsaber because he's retarded. Obviously, that big dent in his head gave him a TBI.
That was such a waste of the talents of Andy Serkis, who is like the best mocap actor out there. He's the guy that did Golem.
Have you ever really watched that fight in that throne room?
Oh, where they had to re-edit because the choreography, they got it wrong, and the Praetorian actually had an opening to stab Rey.
Yep.
They got it so wrong that at one point, one of the Praetorian looks like he's about to dig out his smokes and have a cigarette. It was so bad. The choreography was so bad. And the one thing I noticed is where the actor playing Kylo Ren gave it 100%. I mean, he did. He gave it 100%. Daisy Ridley is over there scratching her ass, waving the lightsaber around. And it infuriated me. It was like, can you put some fucking effort into your character, lady?
No.
And it was,
well, you have to have a character in order to put effort into it.
Look, I'm gonna say just on off note, I actually felt very sorry for Adam Driver because he's a hardcore serious actor. Same thing with Oscar Isaac. They came in being told one thing, even John Boyega, and were contracted to do these shitty movies and have to do shitty other things. And at least they didn't phone it in. I give them props for that, but I actually feel sorry for them.
Hey, I saw Adam Driver in 65 Million. He's
How
really
was
fucking
that?
good. He's
I
really
wanna
fucking
see
good.
it.
I saw
It's
the
a
man
really
in
good
real
movie.
life.
He was an Ex Machina as well.
Yeah, he's a nice guy.
Oscar. Oh, he was in that with
So you
Oscar
met him in
Isaac?
real life?
Yeah,
That was Oscar
I
Isaac. I'm sorry.
You met him in real
didn't
life?
meet I didn't meet Adam Driver like up close, but he did come to my theater where they did interviews with him.
Huh.
Like he was on stage. We've had Tom Cruise recently when they were filming Top Gun Maverick.
Nice.
I didn't get to see Tom Cruise, unfortunately. But yeah, I got to see the man from afar, yes, but man, dude was chill.
And
I
he's
like
a former Marine too.
Yeah.
Even when somebody asked him a weird ass question that he fumbled around so much that he just walked off the stage. He walked off the line.
I did like the part where he was smacking himself in the wound because I knew what he was doing. And it surprised me
Yeah.
how many people didn't know what he was doing.
I knew what he was doing.
He was numbing it up.
Yep.
I'm sorry. Keep going.
He was numbing it up because if you have a bad injury and it's absolutely overwhelming and you slam your fist into it, it makes the nerves reset. And you have that brief burst of new pain. And when the new pain goes back to the old pain, your brain puts it in a secondary things. So now it's not, the pain's not as bad. So every time it started to get bad, he would punch that wound and it would start to go numb. That's what he was doing.
Yep.
Okay, so you were saying what's the mentality of the people writing this crap? Well,
Go
I
ahead.
got to spend today researching the kind of person that writes this shit. And here's a quote from Gabby Rivera, who wrote the America miniseries. Was supposed to be a regular series, but it flopped after 5 issues. This is her queer, Latina, millennial perspective that she was bringing to the character. For America Chavez.
I am to do the dramatic reading for that. Should I do the Vapid Airhead voice? Okay. Yep. America is also taking on the notion of putting herself first. Many women are expected to put everything else before themselves. It's worth investigating what it's like for a younger queer Latina to choose herself and invest in what's going to make her great and more powerful. She's asking herself, how powerful can I be? How much stronger can my punches be? And what does love look like when you're a badass dimension punching Latina? Yeah.
Her entire life and frame of reference is queer and Latina.
And
That's
me.
yeah, that's all that it is. That's all her personality is.
So she turned her into a magical Latina.
Well, I
Yeah.
mean, I'm saying that Gabby Rivera, that's what she is. Her personality is queer Latina, and that's what she did to. She
She doesn't have
literally
no
wrote
cousins, or
herself
she
into
doesn't care
America
to know her
Chavez.
cousins.
And America Chavez is nothing but an insufferable cunt who everyone constantly loves and praises no matter what she does.
If you
Going back
want
to
to know
what I
what it
said,
go
going back to what I said earlier, they don't believe in any sacrifice.
no.
Did you not hear what she said in that article? Not once, like the notion of making a sacrifice just to gain something is alien to them. It's foreign to them.
You want to know what it looks like when people put each other first? Go on TikTok, go on Instagram, go on OnlyFans, and you will see men and women putting themselves first.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god.
I mean, I actually have a problem with doing that because, I mean, I kind of do have a problem with doing it. I mean, Ishii and Kat have known me, and Ginell have known me long enough to know that I kind of have a problem putting myself first. Because but for these people, the idea of doing something that you get nothing for because other people need you to do it is completely foreign. Well, I need to put myself first. I need to take some me time. You take me time when you go in the bathroom and lock the door to take a shit and your kid's banging on the door asking what you're doing. That's your me time right there. Okay, when
Oh,
you've got kids and a family, walking
oh,
around the car is like a fucking cruise. So you take a few extra slow steps, and it's like an instant vacation because you can't hear them yapping for 30 seconds.
you
You
just
know,
brought trauma back for me, Raltz. Then having my kid knocking on the door while I'm taking it. I was like, please just let me finish pooping and then I'll come out. Just let me be.
what you doing? What are you doing? I'm
Yeah, I
building a
think I'm going to
rocket
go do
ship.
that.
Can I see the rocket ship? No.
I
But,
mean,
and go ahead, dude.
sorry. No, you notice how they always bring up that me time bullshit, and
Ugh.
like especially in the workplace and all. Oh my goodness, I'm trying to get my thoughts straight on this while I'm trying to deliver on this. They always talk about this whole mental health nonsense. I'm like, so when does that occur when you need therapy? How long? Excuse me. How often do you have mental relapses? You know, because you guys are talking about mental health, but you're not concerned for everybody's mental health at all, or stress work or work stress related issues. Because if nothing else, when you bring that shit up, you know, the stress that they talk about only happens in 1 or 2 days.
Yeah.
Not even at
Usually on
least
a
about a month or at least 2 weeks,
and usually on a Friday.
and
Yeah.
usually on the Friday.
I mean, I've had people look at me. I've had millennials and Gen Zers look at me and say, "You don't know how hard it is working." And I was looking at him going, "I was 15 and worked in nights at a slaughterhouse, and you can see them blue screen of death. You don't know how hard it is to have a job and all these responsibilities.
Like, excuse
I'm
me?
married with children. You half-wit." It's despite what millennials and Gen Zs think. You didn't just walk in and get hired, and people polish your ball sack
I'm
because
listening to that line, Ross. I'm listening to that line, Ross, and this is what I'm thinking. Since when do these motherfuckers think chores and a job are the same?
yeah, exactly.
They're treating their fucking workplace like it's their fucking house, and they're doing chores.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, I worked for Walmart, and I worked for Walmart in Circuit City and discovered that my coworkers were all immature morons. Oh, he
Oh,
expects me to
super
work
sad.
hard. Well, not stand there with your thumb in your ass, yeah. Well, I just want to stand. Well, I was chatting with my coworker, and one of the supervisors came up and told us to get to work, and I just feel so pressured. It's like you've been standing there for an hour and a half talking about a TV show.
Right?
Customers had to come from your section to me.
When I
When
got hired at my current job, I was there for 6 months. And my boss talked to me and she said, you're number 6. And I thought, oh, okay, I'm only number 6 on the team, a team out of like 10 people or something like that. It's like, well, I'm still new. And she goes, no, in the company.
Oh God.
It's
No,
like,
no offense. Sorry.
and it's just like, how the fuck can I be number 6 in the entire company? I just be nice to people on the phone and listen to them. That's it. Like, what the fuck?
I walked from my Walmart job, and they called me the very next day and offered me a raise, and I laughed at them and hung up the phone.
My previous job tried to bait me to stay with a raise. I said, fuck you, I'm going to the hotel. I get more money that way anyways. And I get fucking benefits. Peace the fuck out!
Yep.
I'll come
I
by
was work.
visit. I still love you
I
guys.
was I was slinging cable, and I told them I had to take my kid in for an MRI because they were worried about brain damage, and they tried to give me. Another guy wanted to go fishing, so his supervisor let him go fishing and try to give me that guy's jobs. And I was like, no. And he's like, "Are you turning down work?" I'm like, "I'm going to take my daughter to her MRI." "Are you turning down work? Are you turning down work?" I said, "No, I'll make this really easy for you, fat fuck." I quit.
There you go.
The boss called me later that afternoon. Hey, why did you quit? And I explained it to him. I said, no, I'm not coming back to work. You could fire him, and maybe I'll come back. Maybe. Or you just let it go, and I want my check better be there in a week. And it's funny because because I found out later it took 3 guys to replace me.
Wow.
Damn.
Well, I rewired for a 16 square city block area in 3 weeks,
Wow.
including 4 apartment
Nice.
buildings. I stripped all the cable out and replaced it all. God, that was
I
fun.
want to grow up and be like you, Ralts.
What? Stupid and work yourself half to death for almost nothing?
I'm already doing that in my current job.
But yeah, I mean, we get on the subject of Star Wars, and new Star Wars has been so destroyed, so ruined. Number one, there's nothing left to say that, everybody else hasn't said. But it's such a boring, overhashed topic where nobody cares about the movies. I mean, you have people who defend it, but those same people that defend them buy Funko Pops. So, that's my opinion of them. You bought a Funko, you buy Funko Pops. You don't get to talk to me about pop culture ever. I'll make an
I can't
excuse
talk
for.
pop culture with you anymore though, because I bought a Funko
You only
Pop.
bought one.
You bought one, okay? You don't walk in and it's like your creepy aunt with her ball joint dolls. At
Well,
least,
no, my creepiness is I have all my action figures out.
well,
I
at
have a
least the
lot of
ball
action
joint
figures.
dolls. Your crazy aunt, your crazy great aunt with all those ball joint dolls dies, and you find out that each of those dolls is worth like thousands of dollars.
Oh yeah.
And those doll houses, you're like, oh, I'm thinking about selling this dollhouse. You put it on Craigslist, and you've got like 50 crazy people calling you, offering you their firstborn. I know someone that actually happened to. Their crazy great aunt collected ball joint dolls from like the 1910s on when she was a little girl.
Oh my god.
4 rooms full of dolls and doll houses. And she was like, oh, these things are ugly and hideous. I'm thinking about throwing them away. And I was like, put them on eBay. She goes, all of them? I was like, no, not all of them. One at a time. And she had like ball joint dolls from 1930s that she sold on eBay for thousands of dollars. She quit doing it on eBay because people started showing up to her house with wads of money.
Oh shit.
A dude showed up with a suitcase to buy a dollhouse that apparently was crafted by some dollhouse master in the 1940s during World War II. I mean, but will a Funko Pop ever be like that? No.
No.
She had virgin dolls, for those of you that know the nomenclature, still in the box, never opened, never touched. These girls were virgins.
Wow.
And we're talking from companies that didn't exist anymore. She was like, I'm rich. I'm like, yes, you are. She was going to put it all on eBay for $100.
No.
Oh.
No.
I mean, I think she had something like 600 dolls and like 30 doll houses.
Wow.
Oh, God.
And she's like, she bought herself, I think she bought herself like 200 acres and a 3-story farmhouse.
I was gonna say you could buy another house for that.
She said it was really creepy because a dude showed up, knocked on the door. He's like, "You don't know me, but I've seen the pictures of the dollhouse." And he opened up a briefcase full of money.
Damn.
I would like to purchase the dollhouse. And nobody's going to do that with Funko Pops. Nobody is showing up at your house, 40 years from now going, "I would like to buy your Funko Pop that they produced 20 million of them in and are out in the Pacific garbage patch in every fucking landfill in America." Nobody's going to do that.
Actually, your Funko Pops are going to be worth less than issue 1 of Youngblood.
Yeah.
I'd rather get Doom Eternal's toys.
Yeah. I mean, and the people who defend Star Wars are the people who think that don't understand why Starship Troopers is so popular.
Yeah.
Because dipshit Dutchman furiously masturbating himself, thinking he's making an anti-war, anti-fascism movie, and all he did was like make a really cool future.
Yeah.
A murderer was caught today. A murderer rapist was caught today and sentenced this evening. Execution tonight.
Well, what's kind of amusing is that film was written as, what a liberal thinks dystopia looks like.
Yeah.
Oh, it doesn't even fall. The book, the original book, Heinlein, it's a love letter to the Marines and talking about how awesome the military is.
Well, yeah, when he wrote A Libertarian Utopia was what he wrote.
Yeah. But I mean, these people who are like, "Oh, the new Star Wars is better than all the others," like, why? And like, well, it shows more women.
Oh.
Really? Because there was
reason.
As a
all
woman,
kinds of
I'm
women.
glad the original
Ayla
Star Wars
Secura,
doesn't have a lot of
Shakti,
women in it.
Bo-Katan, Tucci.
I mean, who gave the briefing for the attack on the Death Star? Was it a dude? No.
Hell no.
It was obviously their lead tactician. I don't remember her name, but it was a woman.
Mon Mothma.
Yeah, she was obviously their lead tactician, an intelligence officer.
Mm-hmm.
She was actually the leader of
the
rebellion. Either. She was the leader because Bail Organa had been killed. So yeah, a woman was in charge.
And I hated that little. Did any of you see those fucking shorts they put out on Disney Plus?
I refused.
Oh, those stupid animated shorts that made all the women look awesome. That one with Leia where Han and Luke are just morons.
Yeah.
I only watched that one before I checked out.
And the thing is that's not good for little girls because all it teaches them is boys are too stupid to do anything. And then they're startled when they get into the real world and, it's like Mike Tyson hitting a dwarf with brittle bone disease. I mean, you want to know what happens to some of these women? They get into the real world and reality punches them so hard that Gabby Rivera pops out the other side. I mean, because boys are stupid and they find out, no, they're not. Well, boys are weak. No, we're not. Boys don't have emotions. Yes, we do. And all it teaches these girls is it isolates them, and it's stupid. It's hurtful. And I can go on and on and on about how the writing in the new Star Wars movies. Number one, you had 2 directors, and that was fucking dumb. Because one wanted to destroy the work of the other, so they both spent time little prissy slap fights that we had to pay money to see. For fuck's sake, be a couple men. Here's some knives. Go settle it. But do they do that? No. We have to watch them an hour and a half of them furiously masturbating onto the other one's face and then telling us to lick it up. No.
I would actually pay to see those two go at it with knives.
So would I. I'll buy them the knives. If I buy them the knives, I'm buying them the real cheap Chinese switchblades.
Yeah.
Oh, we gotta have West Side Story music playing in the background.
Yes.
Snapping.
No. Even better. Have them reenact the Beat It video.
No. Have them knife fight to the 1978 disco intro to Star Wars.
Even better. Yeah.
Have them reenact Undercover Brother.
Yeah.
I really like that film.
What?
Undercover Brother.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, no. What was the one? It was no, it wasn't Undercover Brother. It was the other one.
I'm gonna get you, sucker.
Maybe.
Tang.
Low down, dirty shame.
Saudade.
Let me see. They did a cartoon of it that was awful.
If you
Black
didn't like,
Dynamite.
I'm gonna get you,
Black
sucker.
Dynamite. That's the one I liked.
Dynamite. Dynamite.
But you know what? Yeah.
If you didn't like, I'm gonna get you, sucker. There's something wrong with you.
This
That
is a
shit where
crime
he
I've never
slips.
I
seen it.
love I'm gonna get you, sucker.
That part where he slips and all the guns start going off. I couldn't stop fucking laughing. Yeah.
Oh God, I love.
I love the
Keenan
hardcore
Ivory
mercenary
movies.
part where they just stand at each other, just shoot at each other directly.
Yeah.
And he finally just blows him up with a grenade. And then he goes into the next room and you just hear the background noise. Hardcore mercenary. He just takes out a little pin and just cauterizes his little pin prick. He go, oh!
Yeah. That movie was. If you have not seen, I'm gonna get you, sucker. You gotta watch it.
Okay.
I have not seen that movie since I was a kid. I just remember that OG didn't stand for old gangster. It stood for overgolded because they were wearing chains and shit.
And that shit where the black chick turns around, her eyes are glowing red, and her hair's all twisting around, and she's like, "Raw!"
Yeah. She's on her period.
Jesus, bitch, are you possessed? I'm on my period.
Yeah. Hey,
Yeah,
you didn't see me scream like a little bitch. Hey, I said you didn't see me scream like a little bitch.
Oh my goodness.
It's like that movie with, I think it was Harlem Nights with Eddie Murphy, where they're all up there shooting machine guns, and one guy's got that fucking pistol. Bang, bang! Machine guns. Bang, bang!
What are you doing? What
Reaches over.
do you think you're doing, that little shit? Don't shoot that shit no more.
He slaps it out of his hand. What the fuck's wrong with you?
Cat, you see, have
It's like,
you seen
well, I tell you
Harlem
about shooting that
Nights?
little shit.
No.
Don't shoot that shit no more.
It's Red Fox, Eddie Murphy, and Richard Pryor.
Holy
Wow.
shit.
With Della
Fucking
Reese.
great. And Della Reese.
Yeah. That
And
shit
with
was,
Jasmine Guy is also in it.
but that pistol, that pistol.
Hey, what the fuck is wrong with you,
best.
bitch? No, what the fuck is wrong with me? What the fuck is wrong with you? No, so
Dude,
Shut up, my
quit shooting that
toe.
shit. That scene in the Harlem Nights, they got the machine gun. But yeah, quit shooting that shit.
watch out quick, you're fucking with a heavyweight.
Oh man. See, that's how bad the Star Wars series got. We'd rather talk about blaxploitation movies, the best parts of blaxploitation movies, and we'd rather talk about Star Wars.
Blaxploitation movies from the 80s, no less.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Well, we're going on an hour and a half here, and Kat and I both look very tired. So,
Oh,
as
man, that's-
cool as this is,
Real quick, I'm not. My stop of Star Wars ended with Jedi Fallen Order. I'm not looking forward to Star Wars Outlaws.
The last Star Wars game I bought was
And neither did I pick up.
TIE Fighter.
Squadron had made me hit my limit. I was like, I'm done.
I wanted to
Squadron
like
was
the
fucking
Star
terrible.
Wars games where you flew the ships, but they didn't have pitch and roll, so
Really?
Well, it's meant to be played with a no, it was meant to be played with VR.
oh, okay.
The last one I played was for the N64, so I am
Well,
way out.
The
of
last
that.
one I played was Battlefront
actually-
2 on PS2.
Actually, I got all the classic Star Wars games made by LucasArts. Fuck you, Disney, for shutting down the company. Because we had a lot of games underneath their title. And I got the
But it
remastered Episode 1 Racer, and I beat that one recently.
It didn't make them money. They'd have to give LucasArts money, and any money they give to LucasArts is money they don't have. And what's fucked
we
up
were
is
denied 1313.
what was
As
fucked
if-
up. They could have made money off of it, but instead they had to push the message. They had to rework it for modern audiences, and they had to destroy the old series so they didn't have to give LucasArts a penny. I have seen fan fictions in creative writing classes at first year of college that were better than what we got, and I'm mad about it.
Do you remember when Lucas actually was totally cool with fan films?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
They still
Oh,
make them
true.
today.
You got troops.
Hell, what
That's
was
the
it?
tried to
thing.
stop them.
They played they played the video for Star Wars Gangster Rap when Lucas came onto stage one time.
Yeah, I remember that.
Well, I remember Lucas. He also liked that animation where you saw the TIE fighter point of view for a battle. It looked like
Yeah.
anime. That was fucking great.
Lucas was smart in that he released all of the sound library to the public and just said, as long as you're not making money off of it, I don't care. Because
Yeah.
he actually understood fandom. Like amazing.
Yeah, he was still making money off of stuff that he'd made 30 years before.
I was gonna say
Yeah.
something, but I forgot.
Oh no.
Oh, real quick, guys, because I was looking it up. I'm gonna get you, sucker is free on Amazon Prime right now.
Oh,
It's
cool.
worth it's
Nice.
I am going to watch it after we're done with the show. I haven't
it
seen
is
it in
so
years.
good. It is so good.
Ugh.
All right, everyone. We're going to call it a night. Again, Boobs of Steel will be available July 10th. If you want to pre-order it, it is available now to pre-order.
And
Ishi,
get
you
your
know I went for paperback.
Links are in the description for both.
Yep. And Wolf, where can people find you?
Me?
Yeah, you.
Yeah, you.
In the front room.
Oh, you want all my links?
You got a channel, man.
Well, I have Wolftan Media, so you can find me where we make Ginell laugh for eternity last night.
Don't bring up last night.
Oh goodness.
Are we going to
The
need
biggest-
a Ginell jiggling animation?
Yes, we
Yeah, probably.
and if you do make one, you send it to me. You send it to me. But
Yeah,
the
they
biggest
had me
highlight,
laughing pretty good last night. Poor Dominic. Poor Dominic.
two of the biggest highlights was one of my cohorts. We were doing a sort of, voiceover read of Akira, the latest volume that we're on, and it's supposed to be a gasping sound, right? And she goes, ugh. And everybody started bust up laughing because that was not the sound effect that we were expecting.
She sounded like she was having the best orgasm and couldn't stop fucking laughing.
And then Humble Marty, when we were on a scene where Tetsuo is gesting his whole body, she comes out and says, "Congratulations, the cancer," and I was just dead.
It's the scene where Tetsuo turns himself into a giant mutated fetus. That's what she
Oh.
said. Congratulations, it's cancer.
It's cancer.
But yeah, find me in Wolftan Media. We're currently doing manga slays and anime spotlights right now. We used to do the usual talk about identity foundation and all that stuff, but we since moved trajectories. We do a lot of things. We just talk shit usually, but we have a lot to say. We be a rowdy bunch though.
They're
Find
talking
me on
shit
Twitter
about you.
as DreadWolf1990. Usually you.
All
Yeah.
right, everyone. Don't slip on a dick.
Yep, don't step on any dicks.
And don't pull on a werewolf's tail.
Nope.
Yeah.